Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order, 5:35. Roll call, at-large Cummins.
Here.
At-large Postian.
Here.
Ward 1 Welker.
Here.
Ward 2 Helm.
Here.
Ward 3 Johnston.
Here.
Okay, pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next is approval of the agenda. Any questions, concerns, suggested amendments or changes to the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion to approve the agenda by Cummins, seconded by Johnston.
Helm, Postian,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Welker,
Yes.
Cummins.
Yes.
All right, communications. Is there anybody present who would like to address the council? There's no scheduled communications, but anybody? No? No? Okay, then we will move on to the consent agenda. These are routine items that will be enacted by one motion without separate discussion unless a council member requests separate consideration. Approval of the council meeting minutes from October 21st, 2024. Approval of pay application number 5, pool dehumidification project to Garland Construction for $5,061.75. Approval of the Heath Odorator 2 methane gas reader for $5,600. Approval of meter testing through Shermco for $5,000. Approval to move Chris Dolan on the Hinson wage scale from NO3 step 5 to NO3 step 8. And approval of the claims register, which includes claims paid under the current purchase policy.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Helm, seconded by Cummins.
Postian,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Welker,
Yes.
Cummins.
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to city business. First item is resolution number 110424A. Resolution approving sewer service agreement between the city of Tipton and the Cedar County Fair Board. In your council packet is a draft of an agreement, but the resolution authorizes the city attorney and city staff to finalize as long as no substantial changes are made.
Yeah, if anybody has questions, BB is a lot more familiar with the situation than me as far as being out in the field with it. But this works out what's been talked about before, having a sanitary sewer connection to a new building under construction at the fairgrounds. Right now, the draft makes it applicable only to that new building, but other buildings could be added in the future if they fit the parameters generally laid out in the agreement.
Other, as in other new buildings that come along, or as in other buildings that are currently there?
Well, he leaves the option open to that. Want to go ahead?
Ryan?
You know, right now, the fairgrounds is all on their own system. They have no connection to the city except for with water. It is metered, 100% metered, the water is. However, some washes cattle, some washes hogs, some goes on the ground, some goes through bathrooms. And some goes on the track for watering and keeping the dust down. And so not all of that's gonna go through the sewer. So that's one of the questions is how do we bill properly for what's going into the sewer? But the real question, the main question is, do we allow them to connect? They gotta go about 700 foot to get to the city main. So they've gotta come out onto their frontage road, and then they've gotta come to our 7th Street, and then they've gotta come east a couple hundred more feet, and then there's a manhole there available and ready. We've got the west side trunk line. Handle it just fine.
You will handle it?
It'll handle it. Yeah, it'll handle it fine. But it's kind of important that we have a little bit of control. That's what the agreement is about. One, we don't want unwanted I&I. We've got enough of those kind of problems. And there probably are systems at the fairgrounds that have some of those issues. So as long as the agreement gives us control to watch out for that kind of thing. Initially, they just want to hook the first building. And I'm comfortable with that. And these guys are pretty good about keeping contact with us, about changing anything. So-
And what they want to do has been engineered.
That was one of the requirements that we recommended, was to have an engineer involved. I gave them a couple of options. They picked Veenstra and Kim. They're working with Dave Scheckinger. Dave's really good with these kind of systems. We met on site. He looked it over. And the lay of the land and the distance and the situation and all the variables, they feel like a pump chamber and a pump pressure system is the best solution. It also involves a lot less engineering. And so, yeah, David Scheckinger's involved, and he's gonna draw that up and spec the equipment. And so initially, I think we're looking at an approval here of a contract that they would still have to take and go to their board meeting and pass at their level as well. So even if we approve tonight, we're still just halfway there to get it done. They're building that building and they're eager to get some stuff done before we lose our window here.
You don't see any bringing up any problems as far as tapping in the city then, correct?
I don't, I want somebody, myself or somebody there taking a
Oversee it.
good look at those connections, and not only that, but maybe ongoing monitoring. I want to keep an open line with those guys as things develop and come together, and if they think about adding on. But yeah, that's a wet ditch out there. I want a really good seal on that connection. We want to get a good look at that, make sure that's right. So absolutely. I don't have any qualms with them hooking up. The truth is, you guys, when they're pumping their tanks, we're taking it anyway. We're letting them haul it to our lagoons and dump it. So we've been doing that for years.
And we have control over if they hook up any others then?
I
if they
think this
decide to.
agreement covers that pretty well. I think.
It allows it to be, it allows other buildings to be added, but with the city's consent.
Right.
Discretion from the city, correct?
Right, yeah.
Correct, yeah.
And they're paying for everything.
I don't know that we have any expense other than a little time involved with coordinating
And legal.
and legal.
But, and the other point is, everything from their building or the fairgrounds to where it connects to us is theirs. It's not our responsibility. We have oversight ability, and if there's something going wrong, we could ultimately stop what they're doing. But it is theirs. It's not a main. It's a long service line.
It'll continue to be their ownership.
Yeah.
We won't adopt it or accept it. It'll be always theirs and their maintenance.
Mhm.
We do have to figure out a billing solution. And I think we have maybe a little more discussion, but I think we're talking about requiring them to install a meter for just that building. That wouldn't be a water billing meter, it would just be a sewer billing meter. It would be their ownership and their maintenance, I think. But I think we still have a discussion to have about that with the girls at City Hall and that, so.
And then if there's any material change, substantial change in this draft, we would then bring it back. But hopefully, the first draft of this was drawn up by their engineer from V&K. And then you see the edits that our attorney made. So I assume that they're aware of the draft that their engineer presented. We have to see if they're okay with the edits that our lawyer made. And then there are a few other blanks that have to be filled in too.
So an approval tonight of the agenda item, the contract would be our first big step towards letting it happen. And if somebody felt like they didn't want it to happen, that's acceptable, but like I say, we're taking it anyway. All right. It's just,
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Cummins, seconded by Helm.
Johnston,
Yes.
Welker,
Yes.
Cummins,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Postian.
Yes.
Thanks, Brian. All right, the second item under city business is discussion and possible action concerning replacing all the glass doors around the indoor pool at the James Kennedy Family Aquatic Center.
Do you want to
How do you
cover
do
this?
it?
Abby?
Yeah, you guys have the sheet in front of you, I believe, but,
Yes.
they're planning on replacing all of the doors, and then, 2 of the doors that go from the indoor pool to the outdoor pool, they would like to turn them into windows instead, because that was a cheaper option. One question that came up was if that would still be up to fire code, and they looked into it with, Terry, and he said that it would be fine.
They still have to do a building permit application, but yeah, it sounds like he and Adam worked it out.
Mhm.
And this would, similar to the other aquatic center bills, would be taken out of lost. Is that correct, Melissa?
That is correct.
It's definitely needed. I know when they had somebody come and look at the doors, they didn't think they were worth repairing at all. I think they had already been repaired in the past, all the hardware had been replaced, but when it was so humid in there, they all really got corroded, and some of them have a hard time locking or unlocking and closing. So it's really necessary to replace them.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion by Cummins, seconded by Walker.
Walker,
Yes.
Cummins,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Poschin,
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Okay, that concludes city business. Any reports from Brian? Do you have anything?
No, I don't.
Okay, council members? Melissa? Department heads? No, no one? John? No one? Brian?
One quick one, 7th and Orange is gonna get tore up tomorrow.
Hmm.
The Widowmaker manhole, Lynch is gonna start on that tomorrow.
Good. And how long is that gonna take, Brian?
He thought he could get it done this week. I don't know if that included asphalt. I gotta look back in the contract. I think it does, but he probably can't promise to get the asphalt done this year. It's a little late. But I'll tell him about Pelling. They're hopefully coming.
Okay.
On for Fifth Street. Maybe they can work something out.
Do we have a plan for school traffic? Does that impact school traffic?
I called Tara Voss. She said she'll talk to the bus barn. She said usually they don't use 7th, but I drove down there at 3:30 and I watched them use 7th.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, yes, they do.
So they're aware.
I'm like, yes, they do. There's actually a lot of traffic on 7 before and after school. Okay. John, do you have some?
Computer project is just wrapping up. We're waiting for our computers from Shermco. Once they're delivered, they'll tie in everything that we got done. So the fiber's all been pinged, it's all good. We've had load on and off that, so really close to being wrapped up. Got you moving forward on the streetlights that you saw outside town here. We got one little controller we gotta get, and those will be up and operational. That's it.
Steve?
We're just moving on to sucking up leaves.
Dries out. When it dries out.
We even like them wet, they pack better.
Yeah, but they're harder to blow to the curb.
I think I have some years.
Some of mine?
Yeah.
I don't have any trees in my
I
yard.
don't know, I got somebody.
Not mine. I got the neighbors. Okay, I just was gonna mention 2 things. So I represented the city as part of the city school partnership initiative, call it what you will, for Fill the Bus night on Halloween at Nightmare on 9th. It was an interesting, cold evening, but I was actually surprised to see the amount of teenage kids and adults trick-or-treating. Obviously, I haven't participated in trick-or-treating for a long time, but I think there was more teenage kids and adults that were actually trick-or-treating than there was little kids. But it was fun. It was fun. It was actually, they filled the lower storage compartments of the bus, so it was a good community. It was a good community event. And then the only other thing I was just going to remind everyone to vote. Tomorrow's voting day, so if you haven't, take the opportunity to do your civic duty, as I call it, and vote. Anyone else?
Good job on the paving, Steve. Across from the country club.
Oh.
That looks good.
Thank you.
It does.
Sure, you did that 15 years ago. But
I almost ran off the road the other day. I wanted to try it and I said, no, I probably shouldn't do that.
if you like to, go ahead, George.
We'll read about it.
I think
Right here.
about.
Yeah.
Just do
Yeah,
it
that's Stuart will be
strategically.
writing about it.
Yeah, you want to get.
Let me know
Step by
that.
step.
Should have done it 15 years ago.
Did you get that?
I think he did.
I don't think he wrote that. I think he.
I got it. You
You got it.
Okay.
You got it.
We tried for a lot of years to keep rocks in there, different sizes, and this will probably last longer. Did you get that, Tim?
Okay, well, if nobody has anything else, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion by Cummins, seconded by Helm.
Third.
Cummins,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Postian,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Walker.
Here, yes.
Okay. Meeting adjourned.
Glad you finally
Thanks,
showed up.
everyone.